What's going on? Welcome into TFEs. Kelsey Riggs Cuff, Dalen Cuff here, hanging out with you. And before we get right into it with TFEs off the top, I just would like to ask a question and then also present something.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Curveball.
Did you have anything that you wanted to share with the audience about your thoughts on my wardrobe?
Yeah, there might be a real, might have an X rating on this thing. It says in that when you post your YouTube videos, is it for public consumption? There's like an adult or a age specific category. If you move your legs in the wrong direction, we're gonna have some stuff. I don't think there's wrong with it. I just said we are encroaching on some very interesting visuals for people.
We toured a preschool today for days.
Interesting.
And you had, a colored commentary before we left about my outfit.
I said you look nice when you walk down. Then you said, do you want to wear these shoes, which are like tennis shoes, like regular white tennis shoes?
They're Golden Goose tennis shoes, but go ahead.
My fault. They're really expensive, important shoes. They're supposed to look a little roughed up. That's the whole vibe. I get it. I'm very impressed. But no, you said that, and when I looked over quickly, I thought you pointed, or should I wear boots? And I thought you pointed to like I don't know, what do you call the boots that are like?
Boots.
No, not Uggs.
Those were the only ones that were down there.
I thought in the shoe basket. This is a real nice and look into our life when you walk in the first floor there.
I had to make a basket for the shoes because shoes were everywhere.
But I thought you were pointing to like a boot that is that's just above the ankle, like an ankle high boot. Like that's a real thing that women wear. And I thought I saw something like that in there. That's what I thought you were pointing to. I turn around, she's got knee-high boots on, which for any dude is an F me boot. Like that's what that thing is. And I was like, yo, we're going to a church nursery school. Like this doesn't seem like
these are very high class knee-high boots.
I don't think you understand how the male brain works. It doesn't matter if they're high class. It doesn't matter for $10,000. It doesn't matter for $10.
I didn't mean I spent a lot of money for them. I just mean they're classy. Like I wear these to work. I would wear these to like a function. I would wear it like they're nice white like pattern snake looking boots.
That has nothing to do with it. They are knee-high boots. Knee-high boots with a skirt that is, kind of short. That in itself, as we are discussing, is a look for any man of any age from probably 14 to 64 to be like, one thought pops in your head. That's how this thing works. So
I thought I looked quite nice for the preschool.
Exactly. Quite nice for the club, absolutely. For dinner out, absolutely. For any function at all, absolutely. Outside of touring a nursery school, church. That was a bit
Well, when you picked the boots, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm wearing these knee-high.
Well, then I had to tell you, I was like, yeah, I don't think you wear those.
I was surprised that was the pick.
I thought the ankle booties things would have been, in my head, appropriate. It may be a little dressy, but still appropriate. Once you hit the knee-high, girl, that only means one thing.
Well, we went with the roughed-up tennis shoes for those keeping score at home now.
Oh, no, they're golden gooses. Golden gooses.
Golden geese.
Yeah, that was golden. Oh,
I'm just kidding. I don't know. What do you call them?
Golden goose. Wouldn't you still put it's the brand, right?
Goose tennis shoes. Golden gooses.
Well, you probably golden goose. Whatever.
A gaggle of geese.
Let's get into a grammatical conversation.
The other thing that I was going to bring up was, do you think that people at home, especially those who are watching, would ever think that when we walk into this room to do our podcast, that there are a pair of boxers that I assume were dirty sitting on my chair?
No, those were like, all right, there's levels. Don't people have levels of dirty and clean things? Like, is that not possible?
Oh my God, we have levels of dirty underwear?
It's like I put those on and I was going to work out in them. So I wore them for I walked downstairs with Dace. I walked downstairs probably to fill up my water. And then I chose to work out in different underwear that, let's say, was more supportive. So I changed my underwear. So they wore them for all of 8 minutes, maybe. So why they were on the chair to be brought probably back downstairs to be worn again because there's level of dirty. If it just hit my skin for a matter of minutes, why can't I wear that again later in the day? Maybe post-workout, but I forgot they were up here. Levels of dirty. You don't have levels of dirty?
No.
There's crap all over our room, so I don't know how you organize it.
That is not usually mine.
That's untrue. Go down there right now. We should, you know what we're going to do? We're putting a video together. I'm going to go down there as soon as it's over. Just do a once around with the phone.
Well, that's not fair. I had an event last night and I was in a hurry and I couldn't decide what to wear. So the majority of what's out are the dresses and jackets that I tried on.
This is my point. So you're telling me now that you've tried all those on and they're all over the floor. Are they dirty or are there levels of dirty?
Technically, they're not on the floor. They are on the closet, on the basket in my closet.
What's all on the floor next to the windowsill? There's a pile of stuff there.
A lot of that is Dace's stuff that I folded that I can't put in his room because he's sleeping.
Excellent. Okay.
Do you want to do the laundry?
No, I did folded stuff yesterday. I did do the laundry, folded stuff yesterday. Mine are on the stairs waiting to put them in his room.
I was going to say, where are your clean clothes
They're
on the stairs?
waiting to go into his room. No, I couldn't do it last night at 10 p.m. when I did it, and I forgot to do it this morning. So there you go.
The main takeaway in this house is that we love the house and that we need more closet space.
Yeah, your boy's closet's not even in our room. My boy closet's right there. It's literally off camera, just sitting there on the third floor. So I have to walk up here every time I like to get changed.
You're a good team player.
We have 2 closets in our bedroom, though.
They're very small. They are.
2.
You know they're small.
Belong to her.
And I recently reorganized and offered you one of the closets, and you said no.
It is such a contrived offer. It is a Seinfeld-esque. You want me to say no. You don't want me to say yes, because then what are we going to do? We're going to take half your stuff up here. We're going to reorganize all these closets.
Be honest, my stuff is already in the closet up here too.
On that other room, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you own that closet too. You've got 3 of the 4 available right now. You're going to take over Lyra's next thing we know. Dace, you're out of luck, bro. In 2 years, you will have no closet space. Mom is just accumulating left and right. So yeah, your offer to give me one made no way. There's no way that's going to happen.
The wild thing is too, I hate all my clothes. They're all so old. So
that sounds like every woman on the planet.
I know. Well, I don't.
Find me a woman that says like I love my.
But
clothes.
I don't buy clothes very often because I rent so much. Well, then, I buy the kids' clothes because they need it. But so then when I need to wear something, I'm like, well, I have nothing.
Did we just discover a business idea?
What?
Why aren't we doing a rent and runway for kids' clothes? If anybody needs rentals of clothes that could be used again and be like secondhand and be totally fine, wouldn't it be kids?
Yeah, I think the hard thing is the wear and tear on them.
But if you don't torch them, I think you can. Yeah, 2 weeks, especially like that first 18 months. If it's 3 weeks, if you make it through 3 weeks and you send it back, they're going to be out of them in a couple
yeah,
turns.
I mean, thanks to two of my friends, Christian and Jen, is the reason Dace had so many clothes because their boys were 3 and 6 months older than Dace, and so they sent so much. So,
which we appreciate. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But if we can make a business out of this thing,
18 months now.
If we can make a business out of this thing, let's do it. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there is one for kids. I always wanted there to be one for shoes.
Well, that type of wear and tear, isn't that a big? I mean.
Yeah, and I assume that's why there aren't more that. I'm sure there are some, but not.
So
more
your rent the runway things, there are no shoes too.
No.
They don't. Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
All
I assumed
clothes,
that would be part
bags,
of it.
jewelry, no shoes. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
To your point on the golden geese, they're already beat up. Who cares? Could turn those around.
Is the shoe more intimate? Putting your foot in that thing? It's people not want to do that. They don't want to share shoes. Is that an issue?
I mean, pants go on your private parts, and you wear other people's.
True, but you do. Are you washing the shoes? If they launder the clothes, your assumption is the clothes are clean.
They would have to have a way that they would launder the shoes, that they would do something to.
Like a bowling alley where they spray whatever that crap is to. That's
yeah.
it. That's
maybe a little more high class.
All good. You've been here for 47 years. Let's pop your foot in that thing.
Okay. Back to the beginning really quick. There are not levels of dirty when it comes to underwear. It's either clean or dirty. In your case, I would say that was still again. I would say was still clean, but to say there are levels of dirty to your underwear sounds disgusting.
True, but I think levels of dirty to clothes, I would stand by that. Like if you wear a shirt, I don't launder my every time I wear this shirt, I don't think I put it in the wash.
Well, now you're going to because Dave's got stuff all over.
They snotted and put milk on it, so yeah, probably. I'm sure you can't wait to shrink it. Outside of that, I don't launder a lot of the stuff unless it needs to be done.
A lot of digs happening over here.
What do you mean? What are you talking? What happened? What are you talking about?
I shrunk your shirt one time.
What happened? I think
once.
Thing's a freaking hand puppet now. It's gone. It's literally, it's up to here. Look like a little boy.
It's because your muscles got so big.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
See. Okay.
So you don't have, but even back to clothes. You don't think there's levels of dirty clothes, or clothes you have things that need to be washed, things that can be worn again, and things that are clean. That doesn't exist in your spectrum?
Yeah, but I feel like when you say there are levels of dirty to my clothes, especially when you're talking about your underwear, it sounds disgusting. Like pajamas, I'm going to sleep in the pajamas again.
Yeah, I don't wear pajamas.
Well, I know, but I do. At least a top usually. So I'm going to sleep in that top again.
You have pajamas? I'm in my head. I'm like, wait, what pajamas are we talking about?
My pirate pants that you always
But those are, those are... People, I could fit both of my legs in one of these pant legs. I just don't know what, she's sashaying around the building and it looks like Smee from The Hook. It's just, there's just the pant, all I see is pant legs.
It's from when I was like,
and then
8
Dace,
months
when Dace is
pregnant,
pulling
they're
on him,
like
like his body one time is gonna get
size
lost in
extra
him.
large. They're falling off. Dace comes over and wants me to pick him up, and then I'm standing there, half naked in the kitchen all the time. But they're super cozy.
Deep pants pirate. There you go. Sweet.
Stop it. Those are pajamas.
Those are okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I have a lot of pajama sets.
I feel like you have t-shirts. That's it. You have pajama sets.
Yeah,
There's
like
like a
tank
gray-
tops and shorts, or like the button down that I have in shorts.
I sound like a real attentive husband right now. I don't know. Maybe I don't pay attention.
I guess I either sleep in t-shirts more or sleep in nothing more.
Well, that's in my mind. That's what I'm usually focused on.
That's where your mind.
Yeah, that's what I take. That's what I take in. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh my gosh! All right, give me your TFEs off the middle.
Off the middle. Well, before we got on here, what I was thinking about, because we just went and did it, as you noted, the tour with preschool, and I was just sitting, and you were going through, we did follow up with this school and this school, and I've thought about it briefly, just from talking to other people, where this Dace going to go and stuff like that. And Lyra went to a school that's 20 minutes away, so we're not going to send him there, although she enjoyed it. The amount of crap that moms think about and deal with is just like, it's so much higher than, like, there's just so much more stuff. Because
mental load.
A mental load. Lyra's birthday was on Sunday, and even like you decorated the house, you got these other. Now, granted, there were a couple birthdays that Lyra had that it was just me and her. My focus was just her, and I feel like I delivered on those. It's just a different feel. Like there's the little things you'll do and think about to get this or do this or make the. It's not necessarily a big monetary investment, but it's investment of time and energy to make her like really happy. This may be my. I don't know if I'm going to get canceled for this take. This could be dangerous.
I'm scared.
You should be. I feel like you always hear there's no harder job than being a mom. There's no harder job than being a mom. That's not accurate. There's no harder job than being a fully working mom. Like, I don't know how the hell you're doing both these things. And I think about my mother who raised 5 kids and had was a teacher and then had a side business. Like, how the hell do you do all this stuff? Because, honestly, we've talked about this pod too. You're worrying about things outside of the realm of what should be worried about, or not should. It's not a good word. The reason I'm like, why are we worrying about this now? When there literally is a list of a million other things that are going to get done, that you will get done, that your husband clearly has not helped with. So that was where I was thinking before we got up here a little bit, just like that, that notion when you add motherhood with a job, like that's not just why there's a Mother's Day, but more often guys should probably express their gratitude and be thankful for what you guys do and how impactful you are in all of our little ecosystems, and particularly the kids.
I appreciate that.
So that was my thought process prior to going back to your boots, which is a good thought process. Feelings, I don't know. There was something with like Lyra's birthday and Dace looking at preschool. There was a little bit of like, it's weird. I'm in this is, man, I might get canceled by you now. Like when she turned 7, there was such a wistfulness and I am so grateful for the age she is right now. Like she's a lot of fun. She's really expressive. She's doing new things. She's coming into her own. She may or may not have a crush on a boy that we talked about the other night. That turned into a 25-minute conversation about her and the first grade crushes.
It's cute.
It's cute. Interesting for a dad. But it was like you're seeing all that stuff, but also she's still so little, and she's so obsessed with doing everything with us, being with us, and once you which those are fleeting. Like we all know those years are numbered. So there's like that feeling of like wistfulness and really enjoying it where she's at. Whereas, as we've said with the little man, like as we're touring these things, I'm like, yeah, he could use some structure. Let's get him into this. Let's get him into this thing. Let's see what's going on. Let's figure out like how many hours and what kind of impact other people will have on him and what that impact will be. So there's also like a thing of like, all right, like you asked me before we went, what do you want this preschool to like be or do? Like, what are your priorities? And I hadn't even thought about it yet. It didn't even cross my mind other than then I was like, all right, well, I think I want some structure and I want him to have some like not just be a glorified daycare, and there's an educational element, and who are the teachers? What's the social circle like? How much time are they spending in different spaces, inside, outside? Like that type of thought. So it's like, I'm not trying to rush him to getting there, but it's like, all right, well, yeah, like he seems like he's getting close to ready for this different experience, this different challenge with different people. impacting his life in a more broader sense. Now, he has had a lot of people in his world, family, friends, helping, taking care of him, daycare. So he's very much like in that space, but when it becomes more like a school, it's a different kind of decision.
Yeah, when you walk in there and you see these little 3-year-olds just all sitting on their own little spaces, eating their snack and looking up at us, and nobody's like being crazy. I'm like, Daisy's a year away from that.
They were amazing. I walked in, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
this,
I was
this
like,
class
this is a 3s?
Now, granted, when we opened the door, did you notice the 2s class coming down the hall?
Well, yeah.
I literally thought in my head, this is my hell. Because they were just like 12 of them, just like, you had like 4 teachers trying to.
I was like, oh my God, I love this.
I was like, this is hurting cats. I was like, holy crap. They were coming right at us. But I'm like, that would be him. All right. That would be your thing in maybe 6, 7, whatever, I guess 9 months from now. But so there was like a weird like feeling thinking about where he is and where she is. And then I guess the emotions around that are like, not like a little bit of a sadness, but a little bit of like a, I don't know, like a responsibility with like, all right, what's, he's not a huge like life decision for Dace. If he doesn't like, as I said, you downstairs, if he doesn't like it or we don't like it, we just change the next year. That's okay. But it's like, kind of one of those first like outside choice. We make choices every day that impact him over and over and over again. But one that's like where we are giving him over is a different kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That was a lot. Sorry.
No. I think I echo a lot of those same things. My thoughts are, first of all, I feel like I'm getting sick. I feel like we all have a little bit of a cold.
That's a whole different thing. I think we're all getting ill. I mean,
I'm like, oh my gosh, this time of the year. Why does this always happen? Like, does everybody just get sick this time of the year that many times? I feel like
you more than most.
I know. Like, why? So that's where I'm starting. I was about to like take a dig at you. And it's like, oh, I'd rather me be sick.
Fire away.
Well, I was going to say, I'd rather me be sick than you. Cause I feel like when men are sick, it's like, oh my God, it's I'm just down for the count.
Let me ask you that. This is like an old comedy bit. So we've heard this before. Men can't be sick. You guys are soldiers, which there's a lot of truth to that. That said, how many times have I been sick since we've been together?
Well, I know, knock on wood, but when you are sick, you are,
No, but so when, like, give me
have
one time that I've been like,
it's insane.
But no, but I think there was one time last year that I was like a little sick where I was like vixing up at night and like struggling to breathe and couldn't sleep. I still was doing all my normal stuff. I wasn't laying in bed moping around. Mm-hmm. Okay, what was going? Give me what was going on differently.
You just your like entire like approach to like your day is like yes, you weren't just sitting totally in bed, but I think we're talking about a different time. You're talking about like it was like there was like a 3-week period where you were sick, like you could not get over it.
Well, no, I think I had the like what's the call? Bronchitis.
Yeah.
I kept coughing in that, like so I couldn't sleep.
Which I get every time I get sick.
Well, I couldn't sleep.
It's like, well, I always have that. So like, tell me.
I'm very proud of your immune system. It's great.
No, we're not proud of my immune system. We're proud of yours. Like the fact that you can be the one that like quarantines with Lyra, sleeps in the bed with her, holds a throw-up bucket when she gets the stomach bug, and somehow I get it when you leave town while I'm Cloroxing the whole house is wild.
Well, I would like to challenge you on your me being sick and how I respond, but we'll find out. We'll see.
Well, I would rather not. I would rather like you stay healthy and I be the one that's sick. Now, last year when I got the flu right before we were getting married, that I was down for I was trying to rally, but that is, I think once I finally went to the doctor, I came home, I started crying. I just looked at you. I was like, I've never felt so bad in my entire life. Yeah, and then poor Dace got it, and then we got married. That was quite the adventure.
A snot-filled adventure.
Snot-filled adventure for the Tig Man. Yeah. So those are my thoughts, feelings. Definitely like a little emotional, but more excited than I thought I would be after touring the first place today, because Dace started going to the Miss Denise's little at-home daycare a while ago before he was 1, because like once he started crawling, I would open the closet and he would sprint crawl to the diaper box that had the babies on it and try to touch it. And I was like, oh my God, you need friends. And so like I felt like from a young age he wanted that. And I feel like I've seen the benefit of how much he likes being at Miss Denise's. I see the different ways like he's learning and growing, and also like his socialization with kids I think has been good, and he shares for now. He'll probably start like taking everybody's toys soon. But I still like the thought of him going to an actual like preschool, twos program was like sad and overwhelming. So I feel better than I thought that I would walking in there. Now, when I saw the handprints on the wall of the kids that graduated, did I cry a little? Yeah, I did.
I was wondering, I was like, is she going to mention the fact she couldn't make it through without crying? Okay, there you go. Good.
When we walked in the first classroom, my eyes got like a little tiny bit teary-eyed because I was like, oh my God, this would be Dace's. And then I was good, and he was so excited to see everything, and I was excited to see it all. And then when we saw the handprints on the wall of the kids graduating, I was like, oh God, yeah, got me. What? I know you're not surprised. So those are the feelings, and I guess those are probably the big emotions around that too. Is that I felt emotional, but also I just feel excited that there are still openings, because I do think we have to have, as much as he needs the structure, once we are in a place where we can figure out a little bit more of our life and our work and our balance, that the structure is going to be good for us too, even though they are shorter programs. So, yeah.
I think that was the Vegas wouldn't have put on the board, does she cry today, in the thing. So I was surprised where it got you and how it got you, but that was not a surprise. Can I circle back to one thing as I was sitting there listening to you, thinking about all these parents that are dropping their kids off, and these parents are doing different things. To not get myself in too much trouble about the moms. Moms' jobs are brutal no matter what. It's just when you add the job on part of it, I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify that before I get yelled at. Just want to clarify that before I get screamed at by somebody. The whole job, I couldn't do it. No shot. You add a professional job on top of that, I can't.
I feel like that was clear what you were saying.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have gotten on you.
I thought you might have been biting your tongue over there.
No. I mean, I thought, I didn't know where you were going when you were. Yeah, I thought you were going a different way, because I agree. Like, mom's jobs are hard, dad's jobs are hard, and then when you add an actual full-time job on top of that, it's even harder. Now, I will say, like, staying home full-time is challenging in different ways.
Absolutely. There's a mental and emotional piece.
Finding out more lately than you want to, of like, when we talk about role reversals and things, like, you have been with Dace and Lyra a ton, not just since the job change, but just because we haven't had consistent help. So, every time we've tried to hire somebody, something has changed with our schedule, and so then we haven't been able to do it. So,
there's a mental and emotional piece to it, that especially if the roles are clearly defined, where like the dad will work or the mom will work, and the dad's at home and the mom's at home, whoever the other person is that's at home, and by and large our society is mostly men. Although I know a couple stay-at-home dads, and they've gone through. There's different challenges with that too. Absolutely, there's a massive emotional, like there's a, how does the outside world view me? There's all these different challenges that I don't understand that are really hard. The things I do understand is like just the whether it's the always being on with them, you're a little bit of trapped, the challenge of managing them both without and making sure everybody's happy. There's all these different things that are just, again, mental and emotional more than anything else. And you're doing a very important job that by and large nobody's paying you for or patting you on the back. It just is what it is.
Yeah, and then I think the stigmas of, like, maybe not stigmas, but like the pressures of, should I be doing more, and should they be in this activity or that activity, and what should be, oh gosh, like so and so over here is reading and writing at 5 years old. Why is my child not? Or am I doing enough to prepare them for the future and whatever the next transition is? It's interesting because, like, being a parent is so much about transitions and transitioning. I don't take that out of context, but
we're locked in.
But transitioning to the next part of their life, the next phase of life, the next milestone, the next, okay, what are they doing, or what are they falling behind on? So yeah. Being a parent is hard, period. Best thing in the world. Most rewarding, in my opinion, job in the world. The greatest blessing that there ever is. But so challenging too at the same time. Anyways, big picture. We were going to talk about goals today. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it a lot in the past. We still haven't done it. that we want to set goals for ourselves. And we've talked about whether that is weekly, monthly, annually. What do we want in 3 years? What do we want in 5 years, 10 years? I guess, first of all, big picture, like, are you, and it's interesting that I don't know this about you because I know that we're both very like driven, goal oriented people, but like, did you write down goals growing up, whether it was school, whether it was basketball, whether it was like, did you ever do that?
Very sporadically. I feel like there may have been like a thing in like elementary school or something like that, like about basketball or about like playing in winning some tournament or something. But because my dad was very much a very goals oriented person, you gotta outline what your goals are and you gotta work to achieve them. I think I did that much more in like verbalization and being like, this is what I want to do. And there's things where like, whether it was, be on every all-star team, then it was be the best high school player, get recruited, be a Division I basketball player. Like there were things that, primarily around athletics. The academics things were set by my parents. Like, we get A's. That's how this works. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was the goal. I mean, that was it. You're supposed to get an A. If you don't get an A, it wasn't. If I brought home a report card, it was 5 A's and a B. It wasn't that you got 5 A's. It's why did you get a B? Mm-hmm. And that was the standard that was set, and that's how we operated as such. So not as much as like outwardly. There was something that I was on my mirror since the time I was 14 till the time we moved out of that house, when my parents moved, like probably 12 or 13 years later. I don't remember what happened the night before. We may have lost a game or something went on, and my dad was talking about attitude. He said, the only thing you can control is your attitude and how you respond to this, and blah, blah, blah. And for some reason, the newspaper the next day, the headline of some, like maybe the lifestyle section was, it's all about attitude. So I wake up, he would always go to work before I was awake. Even in high school, he would leave at like 5:30, so I'd get up at like 6. And I would woke up and I like turned on my light and I saw that on my mirror. It says, it's all about attitude. And I was like, huh.
Like he had cut it out and put it
cut it out and put it there when I was asleep. And I was like, that's no surprise I was like, all right, this is really the newspaper. That's weird. But I walked out to my mom and I was like, did you know Dad did this? She's like, he saw it last night and put it up. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was always in my head throughout high school. Like, what you can control is your attitude, how you approach things, how we're going to do things, and that positive mindset. And he used to always say, live up to or down to your expectations. Mm-hmm. It's one of his favorite lines. So there were, all that stuff was kind of like built into me. But as to your point, as far as like writing it down and then thinking of steps to achieve them, no. And I haven't done that in a real like structured way ever. That's why when we first started talking about it, I was like, maybe this is the right time to do that, because I'm very goal oriented, and like I said, have those desires and have them, and then in my mind think about it. But I think there's something powerful to writing them down and then working to manifest them.
Yeah. I haven't written a ton down either. I think, like you said, there are different stages in my life where I wrote some down. And when I would journal, my New Year's journal that I started every beginning of the year, there were things that I like wanted to accomplish that I would write, like, and my next move, I would love to be in a place like Charlotte, North Carolina. So then seeing that I got to work in Charlotte, but it was not like, I am going to do this to get that. In soccer in college, I remember there was a year where we wrote down some goals. But I'm such a visual person, so I feel like it's something that I've kind of missed the mark on a little bit. Like in college, my junior year, I know I've told you about this picture that I carried around. It's from when we lost. We had such a good team. We went into the conference tournament, second place, lost to 7th place team, and that was the end. And we had a bunch of seniors that were graduating. It was devastating. We're like, well, that was our shot, and we ruined it. And there was a photo of me wearing this white uniform, all these players in a red uniform, because I think it was Radford that we had lost to, jumping up, celebrating behind me. I'm laying on the ground crying. Just like the juxtaposition of the two things was very, a big contrast. And so I cut out that picture of myself. I taped it up so it was like laminated. And then every time I worked out in the off season, I ran with it. I played with it. And preseason, I had it in my shin guard. I did everything with it. And then it's still been in my wallet. I've just carried it around. I don't see it very often. I don't ever use my wallet anymore. I just have everything on my phone. But I liked that visual reminder of it. So that was like, it wasn't like a goal. It was just like that memory was so strong. I wanted to be attached to that memory all the time, to know that like what I wanted to accomplish, to not feel that again. The only other thing that comes to mind is a couple years ago, one of my good friends, Ashley Stroline, and I, for New Year's, we did like vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just had a bunch of old magazines. We sat around, we cut different things out. And so that was cool because it wasn't necessarily like, I want this, but you would see different words and pictures that popped out. And it was almost like, kind of manifesting like, okay, this is something that's important in life that like, I know I had the word no on there because I was like, I had to have a healthier relationship with saying no to things at a time where I was saying yes to literally everything. So that was kind of, I guess, a little bit of goals, but I'm really excited to do this because honestly, one of the things too, where I saw this, we've talked about it for a while, and it's something that I've thought about. But then when I visited Katie and Matt, my friends in Texas, they had different things that they had written, and I don't know what they even said. Some of them were like, in the kitchen and stuff, and then in their rooms they had different things that I could see were on there, and I'm like, oh, I like the idea of like putting it somewhere where we see it, not all of the things. So I just like that you wake up every morning and whatever we decide to do or write or what's worth to put there every day, that you see it, because I think it's kind of a like a reset first thing in the morning and like a reminder. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, well, the thing that I think is so, why this seems so appealing at this point in time, honestly, for me, I won't speak for you, but with my contract ending, with ESPN not renewing my contract, and me like being that world of, all right, well, what's next? That transitional phase, and things have started to happen, and different deals are being signed, and that's all good stuff. And I anticipated that happening, but there's still a larger question of like, what do you want to do? That's where I think I'm still like, flailing is a strong word, but my entire life, literally since I was like, as I can remember, it was first I'll be in the NBA. And then I was going to, after the NBA, I was going to be a broadcaster. That was my plan at like 5 years old.
Wow.
Till I was about 14 or 15. I was like, I don't know if the league is in my sights. I can still be a really good basketball player
Dream big,
and take
baby.
care of my life, but and help me in life. But I don't think I'm going to the NBA. That was, now granted, that was also a lesson learned. Never stunt your dreams either. Probably wasn't going to the NBA, but you shouldn't tell yourself that.
Yeah.
The delusional confidence can go a long way.
You could be an NBA exec now.
No interest in that. Thank you though. So there is this, that since again, so it was 5, and there were, whether it was small things or again, I'm going to be on this team. I'm going to be better than my brother Derek at basketball. I'm going to break his records. I'm going to go to this thing. I'm going to go to college. Then we can decide to be in broadcasting. Okay, so I need to find a way to get from radio to TV. TV, I need to get on a regional network. Let's go from regional network. I need to be on a national network. You get the ESPN. All right, here's what I do at ESPN. And you're racking through those. And it was the last, 18 months at ESPN where people were like, so if you could take any job, what would you do? You do all these things. What would you do? I don't know. And at that point is when I started to assess it and be like, well, what do I really want? Like, what do I want to do? I've achieved this goal, this dream of being on ESPN and being at the network that I watched ad nauseum since I was 5 too. But clearly I'm clearly still searching for something, and I'm here. So that was part of me starting to look at like, I think I may have run my race there and not really trying to find a perfect fit there because I wasn't sure of what that is. And that's where I think writing these goals down now at this point is like, all right, maybe let's try to codify some things. Every episode I'll use the word.
He loves the word codify.
Into what do I want to do in the short term coming out of this transition, and then what do we want to do, and then what do we want more long term? I think it's like not just at the right time, it's like necessary, because otherwise that I would feel like I would be flailing. Like what am I and what are we working towards?
Yeah, I think that, you are in a position where you maybe, I guess in some ways we're forced to think about it more with the contract not being renewed, but then we collectively have thought about it a ton. My career has changed a lot. And so when I think, what do I want? We've had some in-depth conversations about that for both of us. Like, what do we still want? Because to your point, like, I had a dream of coming to work for ESPN and never take that for granted. Even 7 years later when I pull into campus, that there to me is still will never be anything like ESPN and what it's meant to the industry. But like, what does that look like now in the building? Because I think the thing that's really interesting is that we don't talk about enough. Like when we're younger, it's like, what do you want to be? What's your goal? What's your dream? Dreams change.
Yeah.
And they evolve. And that's amazing, because usually that means you have achieved that dream, one, and your dream has now evolved into something else, or you've grown as a person. And as a result of that, your dreams have changed and evolved. But like, if you're a driven person, the goals should always be changing, because in theory, you're either learning something that you didn't already know, and that goal is taking you a different way, that lesson, or you've worked really hard and achieved that goal. And so now you're meeting the next one or thinking about the next one. I think the thing that has been a little bit interesting for me becoming a mom is the way that people expected your dreams to change in a way that I don't think is totally fair. Because I think well, of course I want to be home with my family. Of course I want to do this. Of course I want to do that. But for someone to, and not anyone in particular, but I think the assumption, and this is even from friends and outside, people that I don't work with that I've talked to, the assumption is like, okay, of course you want XYZ because it allows you to be with your baby. No matter whether you're traveling, working, on the road, not like, you're not with your child when you're working, to your point about being a full-time working mom or dad. So I think for me, that's been an interesting space of, people telling you, oh, well, now that you're a mom, like, this is what you want, right? Well, it's like, not necessarily. Yeah. I don't know for sure what I want. I think for me, having a family as well as a career, it doesn't mean that I don't still have big dreams for my career. It just means, how do those big dreams for my career also work or not work with the big dreams that I have for the family and the kids, and the desire to be present while feeling like I'm learning. Being a parent is always just feeling like you're missing something. Yeah. Like you do.
Yeah. It's weird too, because people have said that to me about you through this process too. Been like, oh, well, it's great. She's not on the road anymore. Like, when you, like, right after you went back to work, on the road anymore. She must love that. I'm like, well, I mean, depends. She likes being on the road. Like, that's part of what you really enjoy. You love being at events. You love being part of that. I love feeling the energy. So I think people...
And who knows if I was full-time doing that right now, what that would feel like or look like or anything like that. I had a plan. What's the saying? Like, tell God your plan and he'll laugh at you and show you his. And so I feel like that's been like the last year and a half of my life, is like thinking that you have things figured out and then realizing like you don't actually have anything figured out.
Preach. But I think there's people have been saying that to me, have said that to me about you, and conversely, nobody has ever, and I don't know if anybody will ever look at a guy and say, because he just had, his wife just had a newborn, anything changes in his career. Like, that's part of how the gender norms fit in our life, in our society, that it's never been communicated to me that my life would change at all.
Yeah.
Or I should have the expectation to change at all.
True.
When we have a baby, and that's I imagine needs to be evolved a bit over time.
So we're gonna do these goals. What do you think is important when it comes, not necessarily to setting goals, but I guess for us specifically where we're at right now? I mean, because I think there's value in. Let me get sidetracked for a second,
please.
The boots? We're not gonna talk boots anymore.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
We talk boots later.
Sweet.
I think there's value in, no, sorry, not I think there's value in, I do. I'll get to that in a second. I like to paint. I like to paint the wall. I like to paint the room. I like to do that, because that is something very small that I can do where I see the progress and the change very quickly. Cutting grass. I actually like to cut grass.
Lawn mower.
The amount of times we hear the word lawn mower. Right now, there's just a car that went by. Lawn mower? Nobody. Just a car. Yeah. Pulling weeds. I think that is incredibly therapeutic. I mean, I was sending you all kinds of pictures when I was pulling weeds in the front and the backyard, taking videos that I never posted. I'm like, look at this. Because I see the immediate fruits of my labor when I do something like that. So the reason I thought of that.
I love seeing the fruits of your labor. It's one of my favorite things. From the couch. It's great.
I think there's value in writing short-term goals as well as long-term goals, because I think when things are so far off and so unattainable, your brain can't even wrap your head around like all the steps to take. So it's like, as we figure out what we want out of, life and this season and what's next, I think like, okay, what are the short-term goals for that? What are the long-term goals for that? And then just like, what are the immediate goals? Like, what do we need goal-wise for us? What are our goals for the kids? What are the goals for the family? What are the goals financially? What are the goals socially? All of these things, in my opinion, it's like probably like a couple of different categories of short, long-term, and weigh out goals, and then different categories of each. I don't know how you feel about that. Is that too much?
No, nothing's too much. My biggest challenge, I think, with this is prioritization, because time is our most valuable commodity, and the time not spent. I don't mean the time spent doing this. I mean the time to actually activate and execute on the goals. Mm-hmm. So how do we prioritize, like, even in the short term, what are those things that aren't necessarily most attainable, but that we should be focused on right now in these 3 or 6 months? And then after that's accomplished, should we be focusing more on this? Or can we do them concurrently? Is that possible? How does that work? Prioritization within that too. You mentioned different things, but it's financial, family, social. There's a lot of different layers there. And what are my priorities and versus your priorities? Mm-hmm. And how do we, that's part of why I think doing this together is really important to understand what we're really valuing right now.
Well, I think we do it separate, but together. I think we do both.
That's what, but I'm saying, like, we're doing this in concert, so we're understanding where your head is at and where my head is at, and then how we do those things to make sure we're supporting each other, trying to accomplish these goals that if they're independent, and then if they are obviously together, how are we doing them together? Mm-hmm. And they say, the same thing goes with the long-term prioritization. Like, all right, what is really worth the investment of our time to achieve in 2 or 3 years that we need to start working on now, that has to happen now? And whereas you love the instant gratification of things, and I think that term has a derogatory like context in our society right now, but there is some value in that. When you are doing a job and you can see it right away, we like that helps us. That can motivate us, make us feel accomplished, make us feel satiated in what we are doing.
It's like making your bed in the morning,
which doesn't happen every morning. Sometimes it does in our room. Means good things are gonna happen later. Anyway, I digress. It's a weird quirk you pointed out to me. But when you look at the long-term stuff, it's like, okay, is this going to yield what we want it to yield? And if so, I do like long-term goals and like the grind of doing it, of chipping away at it, of seeing that. I'm almost the opposite. I like to see the progress. This could be slow progress over time, but knowing that I'm building towards this and these steps I am taking, while I may be miserable right now or hard right now or confusing right now, I believe this is the right way to go. And also knowing as you go through that, okay, maybe that was wrong. Maybe that's not right. All right, how do we adjust? How do we course correct? How do we solve this problem? And ultimately trying to attain that goal. That's why I think the harder part is the prioritization of being like, okay, there's only a couple things you can do in that regard. So what am I for my things, or what are we, if there's things that are joint, what are we focusing on as some of the longer term things? And then how are we working through different stages? Because then there'd be short-term goals within that to attain them.
You said something that kind of caught my attention there, because you were saying that you like seeing a long-term goal because of like, what are you doing to build on it? Like, what are we building towards? And I think honestly, Dallin, like I think family-wise and relationship-wise, we know what we're building towards and what the goals are and everything. But like big picture with what we want out of life, I think that's why we're in a weird season right now. Because I don't think that we have defined a clear-cut answer to like, what are we building towards? We have career-wise a lot of ideas outside of like what we already do in broadcast, a lot of ideas for like what life could look like and what we, could build on. But like, we haven't sat down and said like, this is what we're building towards. Like, this is what we want. Like, this is what it looks like. And whether that's just like, based off of, complete financial freedom, or, how do you generate, a different level of wealth for your kids than we have right now. Like whatever that is, the big picture thing that we are building towards, or things, I feel like that's going to help us maybe even more, because I do feel like that's why we're in a little bit of a weird season because like what, not to go all notebook on you, but like, what do you want? What do you want?
I mean, if you want to, like, what I
Gosh
want.
dang it, what do you want?
What do you want? What's my man? Ryan Gosling. What's his name, though, in the movie?
Oh, how could you do this to me? Noah,
thank you. But Noah's yelling at her. Anyway, I digress. So.
Great scene.
Phenomenal.
I acted it out in acting class once in college.
You were in an acting class?
Oh, yeah. Multiple acting classes.
Multiple? Are you a good actor?
Phenomenal.
You're in the wrong profession. Let's put the goal. Acting. Turn to become an actor. You're a phenomenal actor.
I don't know about phenomenal. I mean.
Do you have any tape of this?
Probably.
How can we? Does your mom? Who has these? How do I find these?
Professor Keating.
All right, Professor.
If you have it, burn it, please.
Short-term goal, Professor Keating. Find your contact information. Track down the videos of the phenomenal actress to my left.
Okay, phenomenal was aggressive, but
you said it with real confidence. Wow.
I did like it.
Yeah, I like a lot of things that I'm not good at, but I would love to find out.
You would think that I am not good at acting?
Yeah, you're like you. Yeah. I just don't know why I would think you're good at acting. Like, I don't know if you can make up a story to mean it. Like, your face changes. Like, I don't know if you're good at that. I don't know.
I surprised you for your 40th birthday, and you had no idea.
That's true. All right. Well, maybe were you telling me you're a great liar? Is that what we're doing here? All right. Well, good. All right, great. There we go.
No,
double edged sword. The best part about the 40th birthday surprise, random tangent, there's a Steelers bar we would go to all through my 20s. And as we pull up, I'm like, man, this block looks super familiar. Walk in, look at this bar setup. Now the bar is all different. Walk upstairs. We have the whole surprise. I can't believe it. Blah 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 blah. And then my boy Mike Don goes, "Yeah, man, you believe this is the public house?" I was like, "Oh my god!"
How serendipitous.
Blew my mind. I was like, I've spent so many afternoons here, blacked out in my 20s, and now we're back, and I'm 40. That was crazy. I digress.
I can't believe that was the same bar.
That was unreal. I cannot believe it. I had my going away party there for one of the agencies I left when I was 24 years old.
It's wild.
I guess the agency did. I didn't. I forget where I was going now. Who knows? Prioritization. Talk about acting.
Acting. Oh yeah.
Oh, you said, what do you want? What do you want? I think I know what I want.
Pluff mud.
Pluff mud. For any person. Did we did Pluff mud on this podcast?
I think we did.
We're just killing sidetracks right now. Sidebar.
Squirrel.
Olivia Bronco. Squirrel. Sidebar. There was Olivia and sidebars are great commentary. Shout out SiriusXM. What I want up top is I want to.
What's happening? Where are we?
Ironically said, as I mentioned a current employer, I really do think like the thing that I want more than anything else is financial independence from these companies we currently work for. Like, I don't want in an absurdly subjective business, my livelihood to be tied to how one or two people look at me in my job. Mm-hmm. The world.
Not that you don't want the job, but you want financial freedom outside of that, so that you can. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what you're saying. You want financial freedom outside of that, so that if you're doing this, it's obviously already because you love it and enjoy it, but like your life doesn't depend on it.
I love doing our job. Our job is so much fun. The job itself is awesome. The industry has a lot of challenges, and the role itself is one of the most subjective things in any profession. It's literally one or two people's opinions can change your entire life. As you know, personally, obviously, I felt that in some regard, and that's fine. And then you adjust to that. I'm like, all right, okay. So now as we go through this other process of finding new jobs, you realize, it's really subjective, but they like me again. So all things are good. Mm-hmm. Yes and no, because there's both sides to that. I mean, I love doing the job. I love covering sports, and I want that to be my job, but not what drives our ability to have financial freedom. Mm-hmm. So I think the goal really is like, where are we spending time, energy, and effort to achieve or attain things or do things outside of our everyday job that could present real financial opportunity going forward. And those are this is a very long-term thing. This is 5, 10, or 15. This is way down the road. So when I talk about like long-term goals, that's like the overarching what I want. Then how do we actually line up goals to fit that for me? It's, there are small steps, but a lot of the goals are in the short term are about doing our job, living our life, and doing it really well so we enjoy the here and now with a thought of, okay, well, how am I taking this time? And I've started to do this already in different areas, but how are you using this time in different buckets that can attain maybe that overarching goal? And that's a massive, lofty overarching goal that, yeah, I'm sure anybody listening to this is like, bro, that's not really going to happen. There's 99.9% of people don't live that life. But that's what I'd rather shoot for, that goal of 99.9% of people don't live that life than just be like, all right, I'm going to keep grinding it out and hope people like me in the industry, and that works. Because that could be, that's a good life.
Yeah.
But I guess my part is I want us to have a little more say and control in how we feel about the financial security of us and our family.
I will say Mr. Beast released a video of himself that was like, I don't know, 10, 20 years prior, where he had just started his YouTube channel. Do you even know who I'm talking about?
Of course. He's like the most successful YouTuber, I guess.
Do you know the video that he just released? A video that it's from when he was like 10 or something. And so he recorded it. He had like 10,000 followers or something, subscribers. And he was like, by the time you see this in however many years it was, I forget now, I will have at least 1 million followers. I will do this. And now he's,
the biggest thing.
However, hundreds of millions that he has. But it's cool that he like had it, recorded it, and then set it to show up later, because you're sitting here saying right now, like, and people are probably watching this going like, that's not possible. How are you going to do that? We're like Mr. Beast in it over here.
I think part of the society is that has infected me a little bit. It's like, I mean, this sounds awful. I think you see people across social media that in my mind have no real objective talent, but are making lots of money. So, okay, what is the niche? What is the area? What is the idea? What is what is any of this stuff? Because it potentially is attainable. Whereas in years past, I mean, how I grew up too was, my dad worked for the same company for 35 years. And like, my goal was to get to ESPN and work for ESPN and maybe till I retired. I don't know. Who knew? But I still had that mindset, I think, that was kind of woven into me. Whereas at 42 years old, a lot of people, that entrepreneurial spirit has become more prevalent in our societies, but more aware. A lot of my buddies have now done things differently. And you start to look around and be like, all right, can I do some things differently? And you look at some of their successes, but then you also look at the society we're in and being like, I think this is, all right, well, if this is attainable, let's try to attain it. And that might be a very long-term play. But I mean, how many Columbia basketball players end up talking about ESPN? Like, that's not very common either. So let's take a shot.
Two things. Was a goal, I meant to ask you this earlier, ever to go to an Ivy League school?
No.
Like, was that like a goal?
It's my parents' thing. My whole thing was they educate, you had to get good grades so you could play all the sports. If there were grade issues, then sports would suffer. And that was enough of a carrot and stick for me. I was obsessed with playing everything and being, frankly, good at everything. I wanted to do all these things. Then when I got to high school and my academic profile allowed some of these schools to reach out, the service academies, Ivy League schools. I've never told you this before, when Dartmouth first reached out.
If you did, I forgot.
So there are eight Ivy League schools, just so let's start there. And Dartmouth's one of the 8. I never knew what Dartmouth was. I knew Penn, Princeton, primarily because of basketball successes, and they were really good schools. And I knew Harvard and Yale because it's Harvard and Yale. Never heard of Columbia, never heard of Dartmouth, Brown. Devin had a Cornell sweatshirt he would wear. Not sure where he got that or why he wore that, but I knew it was a college. Okay. Didn't know anything about it. But Dartmouth reached out in like a real cursory way. I think it was my end of my junior year or something. It's how long ago? This is 2000. We literally opened a map, like an old school Rand McNally. Like, where is Hanover, New Hampshire? And I'm like, oh, Dad, we're living in Florida at the time. I was like, Dad, I mean, that's in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't want to go to New Hampshire. And he said, hey man, if any other 7 of these schools are interested, you're done. Because this was his dream, a little like his dream to sit there and say, my son plays basketball at X Ivy League school. He thought that'd be awesome. And he eventually got to live that out. He was happy about that. But as soon as Columbia started recruiting me late, it was kind of like December of my senior year. So it's pretty late. I got hurt my junior year. I broke my wrist. I missed basically the whole season, messed up the summer part of things. So my recruiting was all kind of off. And they started reaching out. I finally got to go on my visit right after the season ended. I think it was like end of March. And we go do the visit. I love New York. They flew us into Newark, which is New Jersey, for the woman that lives in the area but may not know that.
I know where Newark is.
But they fly you into Newark intentionally. They pick you up in a car. They pick you up, and then they want you to take the train because the train goes into Madison Square Garden. So you walk out under the garden, and you're like, holy crap. My dad's like, your eyes are as big as saucers. We knew, like I knew before we even saw anything you were in. Then that's at night. We go to dinner. The next morning I go to Columbia's campus. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. Like I didn't know what I was going to see. I wasn't never from New York. Didn't know there'd be a campus. I didn't know anything. So anyway, I do the whole process. The next I get home, and it's supposed to be an arduous admissions process to go to an Ivy League school. Stop traffic. If you're an athlete, it's a little different. If you're a basketball and football player, I don't know. We sent our application on like a Monday. Like 2 days later, we got a call like, you're good to go. And I didn't get it to the house. I was at school. I come out to get in my car to drive home, and there's a Hail Columbia like poster board. Like my dad wrote Hail Columbia on the thing. And I was like, I don't know who did that, but I got in my car and I'm like, what the hell does this mean?
Why does even that make my eyes water?
I get home.
Because it's your dad.
I get home and he was just like, Columbia, you're in. It's done. And it wasn't even like a question. It was not a debate. And at that point, to play at a Division I level, I didn't have a lot of options. I wasn't going to go to the service academies. I thought I might go to Davidson as a preferred walk-on type thing.
Okay, Steph.
Well, Steph would have been there 2 years at my 4. The problem was it wasn't Steph. Pete Anderer was the leading three-point shooter in the country. Was already on that team. Oh. And I was like, I'm not going to play with Pete. He was from New York. He wanted to go to Columbia. I've been playing Pete since like for a couple of years. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to beat him out. He's a couple years older. So anyway, long story short, this is a lot of information and a random sidetrack. But he was so pumped about that. Whenever Columbia first called, I didn't know who the hell they were either. Like all I knew was once I knew New York City, I was really interested. But I didn't know anything about them. So when you say, was it a goal? He just always said that you do well at school, you work hard at the game, you respect the game, it can take you all over the world. Like I'm telling you, I live that life. You can do the same thing for you. And he was dead right. I never get to go to any Ivy League school or any school of that level if I don't play basketball. But I also don't get into that school if I don't do all this stuff academically. I don't have my career. I don't get to travel the world doing different basketball and sports things. Like it changed my life. But it was never a goal. Mm-hmm. So to your point, in some regard, like the goal can be a little esoteric, was just to be good at basketball and get good grades. But what does that actually ladder up to? There's a hope there. And I guess maybe that's a little bit what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Or articulating right now.
I just have never asked you that, so I wasn't sure as we were talking about it. I meant to bring it up earlier. That's a cool story too about your dad. But the other thing I was going to ask you, as you were saying, like, as we're thinking through this, how much weight, I kind of know the answer to this, do you or do you not put into this idea of the power of positive thinking?
A ton. Like I just don't if you don't think
you put a ton in it
to believing that you have to think positively to attain a certain goal. Yeah. That's the whole live up to or down to your expectations. If you expect things to be great and to be at this have a high level, you got to work, you got to be committed, but you got to start with an expectation. And if you start with that expectation, that was bred into me, you will meet that expectation. You got to set it, but you got to work toward it, but you'll get there. You live up to it. If you set a low expectation for yourself or others, you'll live down to those. It's the same thing. If that's a negative thought, that's a thought of.
That's interesting because when you say you live up to or down to your expectations, I've never really thought about that in the same way as like the power of positive thinking, but it makes sense.
That's how I look at it. It's like manifesting your thing. You put it up. You put this thing up, this marker up high, and you're gonna try. You're going to it. You are going to achieve it. It wasn't a question. That's why I said it. You're going to achieve it. If you put it down low, you will also achieve that. Mm-hmm. And that thought that it's going to be low is a negative thought to begin with.
It's interesting, just because I think I agree with everything that you're saying, and I think it's so true. But I do think it's like one of the more challenging things to do, especially in hard times, because it's so easy to get lost in the why and the how and the but this and the but that, versus staying focused on a goal and thinking positively and controlling what you can control and reframing your mind of not like, there was just a quote that I saw earlier today that, was something about when hard things happen, it's not like, why did this happen to me or how did I get here? It's like, what was that taking me away from? Mm-hmm. Like, what was that protecting me from by leading me on a different path? Maybe it's not the path that I wanted, but what did that save me from or actually move me to that I can't see yet? And even reframing your brain to think like that when negative or hard things happen, I think is really challenging, because it's just not like what's innately in our DNA of, it's like, why? Like, why did this happen? Not, okay, this happened, now what? Or this happened, this is another sidebar, but kind of related. Like, if you actually think about a car accident and all the things that have to go perfectly right, but really wrong in your day to put you in that moment at that exact time, it's wild. When I was in a car accident, when I was in Charlotte, and have had a lot of issues ever since then with my back and my ribs. But I remember just being like, as I was going through, it was actually where Cam Newton, his car flipped a couple years prior. So they installed a stoplight there instead of just a stop sign. Stoplight was new. For me, it was blinking yellow. For the other person, it was blinking red. And so I slowed down a ton because the car that was coming across the way, they had a blinking red, but it was a truck that was pulling a trailer. So I slowed down even more because he had the trailer on the back. Thank God I did. The car behind him wasn't paying attention, blew straight through and hit me. But I just remember looking up as he's coming, and I ended up swerving. He didn't see me coming because he was just going through. I ended up swerving, and it hit right in front of my door. Basically, he hit my door, not my door, right in front of my door, the front left side of my car. And I just remember, I mean, it was like traumatizing for a while because I kept thinking, if I was 1 second sooner, he would have slammed into the side. And then it's like, if I was 1 second later, if I would have said was coming from an interview, I was working. If I would have asked one extra question, in that interview, if I would have talked 5 seconds more or less, if I would have been running, like, to put you in that exact moment at that exact time, is just a wild, and I guess it's like with anything in life, but especially something like that seems so chance and so happenstance. All the things that have to happen in your life to put you in a particular situation in any moment of time is like kind of mind blowing in a lot of ways. I mean, that doesn't help with the power of positive thinking or anything like that.
I love your side note. I totally agree with it. If I want to add more side notes as we go past an hour, just real quick. You're not a movie person, but this is why I think the Back to the Future trilogy is one of the greatest works ever created, because it makes you think about things you never should think about. Like Back to the Future 3 is a questionable in conclusion. There's a bunch of parts in that movie that aren't great, but the very end of the last one is they mentioned throughout one, if you call Marty a chicken, he reacts in a very, if you affront him basically he has a bit of a Napoleonic complex. Small chicken, whatever. Chicken's the word they keep using at the time in the 1980s. Makes him overreact in a negative, just do things that are very rash. In the first one, it's talked about. And the second one, he go 30 years in the future. They keep alluding to this accident. This accident affected his life since the accident. It's said 7, 8, or 9 times. You go through the whole third episode, the whole third movie. You get to the very end, where now they're back in 1985. So Marty saw his life in 2015. He saw what had happened. He saw the impacts of decisions made. He saw the impact. He had the accident mentioned many different times. And then you're sitting there. Somebody pulls up, calls him a chicken. It's a character that also was his boss in 2015. Calls him a chicken, blah, blah. They hit to race. He starts to hit the act like he's going to hit the gas. Needles takes off. He goes in reverse, like he's joking around. Like he's not going to race him. He didn't goad him. But they see a Rolls Royce pull out, and the lady goes, his girlfriend goes, if you to suit your wife, you would have hit that Rolls Royce. It's like, oh my God, I'd have blasted that Rolls Royce. That was the accident. They basically end the movie saying, like, to your point, there's this butterfly effect that's not just on a horrible situation like your accident in a day. There are things that happen over the course of your life and how you act to things and decisions you make that will impact you decades later that you think is nothing in the moment. And I think that was like an interesting way to end that movie for like a 10-year-old me to try to look at it and be like, huh, that's strange. And the fact that they seeded that through 5 hours of content to kind of wrap that little bow of his personality and how he developed and what he learned from going to the future and seeing his life that would allow his life to be different now.
So he didn't go for it because he knew he would have had that accident.
He didn't know he'd have the accident. He just had learned enough to, like, the decisions you make, these rash choices and how you can goad him. He kept doing it through the series of the movies and ending up in bad situations. There he didn't do it. He learned the process, and he saw a lot of decisions, other ones that he had made through the 30 years of his life that affected his life to end the way he didn't want it to do. So it's almost like when he got a chance to run it back, he's like, well, this was something different. I'm not going to do it this way. So this decision that was, simple, was a character flaw, but he recognized the character flaw and made a different decision. He no longer gets in that accident. Does that change his whole career? Potentially. Marty McFly.
Interesting.
Anyway, sorry for the random.
No, it is interesting. It made me, and you're talking about the butterfly effect too. It made me think of, I think we've talked about it before, but have you read the book, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven?
Mm-mm.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard Thug Mansion by Tupac, which is great.
Oh.
Ella, Billy will be there. I've heard it's going to be great.
Okay. Yeah, same thing. Definitely. I had a friend in college tell me about it, and I haven't read it since then. I need to read it again. But it basically is saying that, the idea of it, as long as I remember it correctly, this was a long time ago, but that there are 5 people in your life that will impact your life the most way. And those are in this book, the 5 people that you meet in heaven. And it may not be the person that you think it is. It may not be this person that hired you to work at ESPN, but it may be somebody that was behind the scenes in some way, or somebody who you didn't even know had this big impact on your life. And so the book is going through those 5 people, and, it makes you think, who could those people be? You say the butterfly effect, how is your life being influenced in ways that you don't even know? Or for instance, I think of your, Marty McFly story, would one of the 5 people that you meet in heaven be that person because you didn't get in the car accident, because you didn't do that, and what your life could or would have been. But yeah, anyways,
it's interesting book. Now you got me sitting here thinking too, who those people may be. But to your point, that
better
I think
be me.
Kelsey. 5 best rappers of all time. Dalen. If you think about the people that you affected your life. But to the point about our business, in any business, because I learned this at a pretty young age, working in advertising and marketing, and working with the last agency. I was on this executive team, on the leadership team, and I'm sitting there at 27. These are all people that run the agency. 30, 35 was young then, but into their 40s and 50s. So I'm by far the youngest person there. And I was surprised at the cavalier nature by which they talked about people getting fired, as we went through some merger and acquisitions and different stuff. To just be man, you really need somebody in these rooms. Mm-hmm. And my dad told me that a ton when I was growing up. You got to manage up. You got to manage up. You got to walk around the office. You pop into offices. You pop into people's rooms. You go to lunches. You need to know what they know and what was important to them. So when they're thinking about you, you're the person that they want to put in those positions, or the person they're not going to let go because they're thinking about you. Because there's that cavalier nature by what you're sitting there. And I remember, this is messed up. I won't say the person. She was like, yeah, what's his name? I don't remember his name, but I do. I always say BBG. Guy was probably $3 bills. Big black guy. She was like, I'm like, I was like, wow, okay. So I was like, now granted, she's saying a good. He's so good. He's so sweet. What is his name? Her point was she couldn't remember his name. Mm-hmm. But because we had that conversation and we're like, yeah, he is really good. His job is saved. We need that guy on the team. I don't know his name, but we need that guy. But that's okay. That's important. Now, granted, the script are not the best, but that's important. Right. But there are people in those rooms where, again, in particularly in our business too, if you are not connected to people at the senior level, there's somebody in that room being like, "Dad, we can do without her. We can do without him."
Somebody in the room to say your name.
That's so huge. Which, to your point about the 5 people, you may not know that somebody was going to bat for you to help you. You may know they did some things, or you know you had a good relationship, but you have no idea how somebody may be advocating for you that affects you personally and professionally. You have no clue.
Real quick, we keep getting on sidebars, but I feel like I need to tell this now. When I got an email from somebody at ESPN, it was a random day in October. My personal email address. I've told this story to people before in classes when I talk, because my point is you never know who's watching.
At ESPN, or
to come to ESPN, an ACC network. I got an email. It was from somebody who said he was in the talent office. I Googled his name. I couldn't find anything about him anywhere, Patrick. Nothing. And it was my personal email address. The headline said ACC tip-off. And I'm like, who is this Joe Schmo from Syracuse that wants me to go shoot a VOSOP for them tomorrow? I can't. I'm going to Panthers. I'm solo. I'm one-man banding it. Don't have time. I'm pulling Duke and Carolina off the feed. No. So I open it. It's from one of the guys who's in the talent office at ESPN saying he's going to be at ACC tip-off and he wants to have a meeting. He wants to see if I want to meet with him. Can't find anything about him online. Very little things, if anything. Have no idea how he got my email, much less my personal email address. I was surprised by that. Although I'm sure it was on the internet, some on my reels and whatnot. But anyways, I am Googling him, can't find anything. I'm like, well, I'm going to go. I don't know if Ashton Kutcher is going to jump out and punk me when I get there. And this is a friend, but I would love to have coffee with you. So I go through the whole meeting. Then he has me wait because another guy from town office is getting there. I meet with that guy as well. And the whole time they're just saying someone from ESPN saw you and thought that we should reach out about ACC Network. come to find out later down the road, very high up exec at the time, Steph Drewley, her mother lived in Charlotte and had been watching me and talking about me behind the scenes for over a year when I had no idea. So I say all that to say, like, I always tell people when they're like, how do you break in? And I'm like, you know, what your mom told you about. You never know who's watching. You literally never know who's watching. But also, to bring it back to our conversation, like, Miss Drewley might be one of the 5 people I meet in heaven, because without her watching me in Charlotte and on some of my bad days that I had no idea, days where I was like, what am I still doing here? I want more. Am I ever going to have more? But still showing up and doing a good job and trying to not ever let that, you know, be seen. You know, people were saying my names in rooms that I didn't even know at the time to be a part of this dream job. So it, you know, turned out I wasn't punked. Here we are all these years later. But I just, as you're saying that, I'm like, that's a like behind the scenes piece that I now was made aware of, but through the whole process for a long time, I had no idea. Even when I first met Steph, she was like, oh my gosh, my mom loves you. I'm like, that's so cool. And then by the time I get hired, they were like, you know, her mom is the one that was like, you got to hire this girl. She's really good. You got to see her.
I mean, it is a crazy story. I remember you first told me that. I was like, what? Like, that is wild. But it is. You never know who's watching. That's why every day you got to put your best foot forward, especially in this business, because you're putting yourself out there to the public every day. But that kind of transcends businesses. But yeah, that is crazy. I mean, if you don't, maybe you end up at ESPN either way. Yeah. But maybe you don't end up at the ACC network and you don't meet me and realize how much I'm an asshole. And then you end up realizing how much I'm not an asshole 4 years later and be like, oh my God, he's the greatest thing ever. And then we have a child, we have a house, we have a life. None of that happens.
My God.
Yeah.
So she's got to be one of my 5 people, because it led me
along with me
here to you.
Actually,
I mean, she might be the person, instead of me.
Know? Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. All right, let's go do some goals before Dace wakes up.
As soon as you said that, he's going to be awake. But yeah, let's go do some goals.
We'll report back next week, see how it went, didn't go. Maybe have some updates.
It may still be going. We'll find out.
No, we're going to get it done.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you share, rate, subscribe, and as always, share not just the podcast, but your actual TFEs.